So what's going on guys, Kade is here and welcome back to a brand new video. For today I will show you the top 3 best 1v1 builds in New World. So for each and every single build I will explain what attributes, weapon masteries and even weapon and gear perks you want to have. Then what gems and specific gear you want to use to get out your stats as much damage as possible. Then as well I will show you the best gameplay of me using different weapons so you would know which abilities you want to use first on your enemies and much more. And as well I want to make a quick disclaimer that in this video I will not be showing you any healer builds because technically any build with a life staff will win every single 1v1. So if you're looking for specifically for a healer build, then click the link in this video's description. But if you're looking for high burst and high damage builds that are actually good for 1v1s, then this is the video for you. So if all this sounds interesting to you, then let's get right into it. So then moving over to the first build, which is the mage class, and for the weapons we want to use the void gauntlet and ice gauntlet. And these are the attributes you want to have. So first things first, if you start from level 0, you want to get your intelligence to 150 and then start building your constitution, and around level 60 you should have 300 intelligence and 150 constitution. And lastly for your gear you want to go with the medium category, and the best gear setup is to have heavy helmet, heavy chest armor, medium gloves, light pants and medium boots, and this will give you 22.9 kg weight, which is exactly just below the heavy weight category. So then moving over to the first weapon, which is the void gauntlet, and these are the weapon masteries you want to have. So first of all you want to unlock both these two perks and then get the first ability called the oblivion and then get these two perks. Then afterwards unlock the second ability called the petrifying scream and then get these two perks as well. And now let's move over to the other side and unlock the last third ability called the Orb of Decay and then get these 3 perks, and that's it. Now from this moment you can unlock all the other perks in whatever way you like. Okay, so now let's move over to the second weapon, which is the ice gauntlet, and these are the weapon masteries you want to have. So first of all you want to unlock the first ability called the ice spikes and then get these 3 perks. Then afterwards unlock the second ability called the ice storm and then get these 3 perks as well. And then from here let's move over to the other side and unlock this one perk and then the last third ability called the ice shower and then get this one last perk, and that's it. Now again from this moment you can spend your points in whatever order you want. Okay, so now let's go over to the gameplay where I'll show you the best way to play this build. So first of all for the void gauntlet we have the first Q ability called the oblivion, which creates a circle around you and your teammates inside the circle will be getting 20% damage increase, but on the other hand your enemy standing in the circle will be taking void damage every second. And a really nice thing to do is while standing in the circle do a bunch of medium jumps. And because of the perks we have selected, we and any other allies in the circle will be getting plus 15 stamina each jump. So this will give us the ability to dodge more enemy attacks and gain more stamina at the same time. I found this feature very useful in 1v1s to escape enemy attacks or in PvE where the mobs couldn't catch me and much more. So then for the second ability we have the petrifying scream, which when using will unleash a void scream and this will stagger and root enemies in front of you. And then lastly we have the third ability, which is called the Orb of Decay, and you can fire this orb which can go to your enemies, and each enemy that it hits it will deal decent damage and reduce their damage absorption, and then later that orb will come back and heal you for a few seconds. And lastly if you hold the right mouse button you can regain more mana, but in exchange your health will go down. I would definitely not recommend to use this in any type of 1v1, no matter if it's a duel or in open world 1v1, because fighting against another player a lot of times you can win or lose by just having 100 more HP. So definitely forget about this mechanic for this build. And if you really run out of mana then just use mana potions. So then for the second weapon we have the ice gauntlet, and your Q spell is called the ice storm, which all enemies standing in it will get damaged and slowed. And the more enemies you hit the higher damage you will get. Then the R ability is called the ice shower, which when using will create an ice wall, and if the player goes through it it will stun him. And this ability is very useful in trapping your target. And then lastly the third ability is called the ice spikes, which when activating creates the trail of spikes in a straight line, which deals damage in AoE range. This ability is very useful and high damage if you use it correctly, and the way it works is that when you use the ability, but if you're too close to the enemy, then the ice spikes won't explode with the highest damage. So what you want to do is when using the spell and you see that the player is 1 second away from getting hit, then press your right mouse button and this will detonate the ice spikes, which will deal very high damage. So as far as your ability combinations go for the ice gauntlet in a 1v1, this build has basically 2 one-shot combos. One combo is for the ice gauntlet where you place the ice shower on the enemy player and then put the ice storm and then hit the target with the ice spikes. And then the second combo is for the void gauntlet where you stun the enemy with the petrifying scream and then right after place the oblivion ability plus auto attack the target while doing medium jumps to activate the opal gem on your weapon, and that's about it. And lastly, whenever you get low health, use the Orb of Decay and heal yourself for a few seconds. But be careful with this ability when it's coming back, because the radius is pretty small. So most of the time, the next few seconds you don't want to move, so then you get the ability coming back with the healing, and that's about it. So then for my last and final conclusions for this build. This Void Gauntlet and Ice Gauntlet weapon combination is very high damage, and you basically have 2 different one-shot possibilities every 10 to 15 seconds, so you can easily destroy any player in a 1v1 or even 1v2. So then for our gem choice for the Void Gauntlet, you want to use the Opal gem, then for your Ice Gauntlet, get the Malachite gem, and then for all of your gear, rings, amulets and everything else, use the Enix gems. And then on top of all this, to find out the best weapon and gear perks, watch this video, which is titled "Which weapon and gear perks are the best for your build?" You can find the link in this video's description or just scroll through my channel. And that guide is specifically made to explain you in depth for each perk that you need to get to have the highest damage possible. And you will be able to find all the information dedicated for the Ice and Void Gauntlet weapon and gear perks and so much more. So in a quick summary, if you're looking for the best and my most favorite 1v1 mage build, then this is the one for you, so enjoy! So then moving over to the second build, which is the one and only Great Axe and Hatchet, and these are the attributes you want to have. And just so you would know, this is the best tank/melee DPS build, and it is really good for 1v1s and PvP in general. So then, no matter from which level you start using this build, you always want to split all of your attribute points to half. So put 50% into strength and 50 in constitution, and around level 60 you should have 250 strength and 200 constitution. And then last but not the least, for your armor, you can this time make a choice to go with the medium or full heavy category. I have seen bunch of players going with the medium and having the ability to have 3 medium jumps while being melee is pretty good. Or on the other hand, being a bit more tankier is better for some other players. So I would recommend to try out both these setups and see which one you like better. So then if you choose to go with the heavy category, you want to equip a full heavy armor, and for your character to look better, you can even have a shield on your back as well. Or then if you choose to go with the medium category, then for your setup you should be having heavy helmet, heavy chest armor, medium gloves, light pants and medium boots. So then for our first weapon we have the Great Axe, and these are the weapon masteries you want to have. So first of all you want to unlock the first ability called the Maelstrom and then get these 3 perks. Then afterwards unlock the second ability called the Gravity Well and then get these 3 perks as well. And now from this moment, let's move over to the other side and unlock this 1 perk. And then lastly, unlock the last third ability called the Charge and then get these 4 perks, and that's it. Now from this point, you're free to pick and choose which perks you want to unlock next. So then let's go over to the second weapon, which is the Hatchet, and these are the weapon masteries you want to have. So first of all, you want to unlock the Berserk ability with these 2 perks. Then afterwards unlock the second ability called the Feral Rush and then get these 2 perks. Then lastly unlock the last third ability called the Raging Torrent with these 2 perks. And now from here, let's take a closer look at the other side and unlock this one last perk, and that's it. Now again from this point and onwards, you're free to choose in whichever order you want to spend your points. So then let's move over to the gameplay where I'll show you the best way to play this build. So first things first, for your Great Axe Q ability we have the Gravity Well, which you can just aim and shoot, and if you hit the target in that electric storm he will take damage and get stunned. Then the second ability is called the Maelstrom, which performs a fast spinning attack, which deals damage and pulls targets closer to you. And lastly, we have the F ability called the charge, and this is a dash ability which deals damage and gives you more mobility. So then moving over to the second weapon, which is the hatchet, and the first Q spell is called the berserk, which after activating makes your character enter the berserk mode, which increases your damage and movement speed by 20% each. Then as well, every 4 seconds you get your health back, which can be up to 30% of all of your maximum health. And then as well, the berserk mode itself removes any stun or the slow that the enemy target has applied to you. Then the second and third abilities basically work the same way, as they are just simple damage abilities that do 3 to 4 fast attacks in 2 different ways. And then lastly, when you hold the right mouse button, you'll be able to throw an axe. This is very useful in hitting your targets from further distances, or finishing them off if they're low health and running away, and as you anyways block all the damage with a great axe, then this hatchet option comes in very handy. So then for the way you want to attack an enemy in combat is by first of all using the great axe and then activating the gravity well, which will stun your target, and then follow that up with the maelstrom ability, which will do damage and pull your target closer. Then at this point, switch to the hatchet and activate berserk mode, and keep on using light attacks plus the R and F abilities whenever they come off cooldown. And then lastly, to get out of a dangerous position or to catch a player, switch back to the great axe and use the charge ability, and that's about it. So now for my last and final conclusions for this build. This great axe and hatchet weapon combination right now is super strong as a tank or melee bruiser build. You can win every single 1v1 against any type of player. So then lastly, for the great axe and hatchet for PvP, aka for 1v1s, you want to use the all-pull gem. And then if you ever decide to do PvE with the same build, then get the carnelian gem. And then for all of your gear, amulets, rings and everything else, use the Enix gems. And then again, like I explained in the first build, to find out the best weapon and gear perks, watch this video, which link I will put in this video's description or just scroll through my channel. And in that specific guide, I will explain how perks work and which ones are the best for your gear and weapons and much more. So if you were looking to be super tanky and hard to kill, but as well have the ability to do bunch of damage as a solo or group player, then this is the best 1v1 build for you, so have fun! So, moving over to my last and final build, which is the one and only bow and rapier, and these are the attributes you want to have. So, no matter from which level you start using this build, you first of all want to get your dexterity to 200, and then get 50 points in constitution, and then continue putting everything else in dexterity. And around level 60 you should have 300 dexterity and 150 constitution. And lastly, for your gear, you want to go with the light category, and the best setup is to have medium chest piece and then the rest light equipment. So then taking a closer look at the first weapon, which is the bow, and these are the weapon masteries you want to have. So first things first, you want to unlock the first ability called the evade shot, and then get these 3 perks. Then afterwards get the second ability called the poison shot, and then get these 2 perks. Then from here, let's move over to the other side and unlock the last third ability called the penetrating shot, and then get these 4 perks, and that's it. Now from this point and onwards, you're free to pick and choose which perks you want to unlock next. So then let's go over to the second weapon, which is the rapier, and these are the weapon masteries you want to have. So first of all, you want to unlock right off from the start both these 2 abilities called the evade and riposte, and then afterwards unlock both these 2 perks. Then lastly get the last third ability called the fleech, and then get these 3 perks as well. And now let's take a closer look at the left side and get both these 2 perks, and that's it. Now again, you can spend your points in whatever order you like. Okay, so now let's go over to the gameplay, where I'll show you the best way to play this build. So for the first weapon, we have the bow, and the first Q spell is called the poison shot, which gives you the ability to shoot an arrow, and when it reaches a target, the arrow will explode and create a green poison smoke, and enemies standing in that smoke will be taking damage every second. Then the second ability is called the penetrating shot, which deals a lot of damage, and the arrow itself can go through multiple players. And then lastly, our third ability is called the evade shot, which when using makes your character leap back 5 meters while shooting one powerful shot. And then moving over to the second weapon, which is the rapier, and the first Q spell is called the evade, which by activating makes you invulnerable for a split second. And it can be good in dodging enemy attacks, but you have to know how to use it. So then we have the second ability called the riposte, and it is reflect, which means that when you activate it, and if the enemy hits you, you will reflect the incoming damage from you to him. So if he does an F ability on you, instead of you getting hit, he will hit himself. And then lastly, we have the fleech ability, which deals damage and provides a small but nice mobility / dash spell. Okay, so the best way to attack a player is at the start, always try to have a distance between you and the enemy. So from distance, you want to use the bow, and the way I like to do it is shoot one normal attack and then shoot the poison shot and then use the penetrating shot. And this will poison the enemy and make him take damage every second. Then from here, always try to keep on using your dodge rolls and swapping your weapon, and this will activate your perks on the bow, giving you the ability to get haste and damage increase. So for as long as you keep your distance, keep using the bow, but then when the enemy comes close to you or you to him, then switch to the rapier and use the riposte ability and reflect the next incoming attack. Then I usually spam the evade ability as its cooldown is very short and it will give you a small cooldown reduction. And then lastly, use the fleech ability to dash into the enemy or to create even more distance, and then switch back to the bow, and by using the evade shot and normal attacks you should be able to finish off the enemy. My main point that I want you to understand is to use the bow for range attacks, and for close distance fighting, use the rapier left clicks. Both weapons are very high damage, and the rapier is more meant for spamming left clicks while the bow will take more time to practice aiming. And then the last thing I want you to practice is dodge rolling and swapping your weapons back and forth. So it's very simple. You normally run, then dodge once, and before the animation ends you swap your weapons. So then without the animation you can dodge twice, and this will give you more crit chance and just general movement speed. This one, dodge and swapping from both rapier and then back to bow, will give you nice speed boosts which you can use normally to run around the map a lot faster, or in PvP you can create a lot more distance and make yourself a very hard target to catch. So now for my last and final conclusions for this build. This bow and rapier weapon combination right now is one of the best DPS builds in the game, but of course you have to consider that to play this build it will be a bit harder and take more time to practice aiming, especially at moving targets, because it may seem easy to hit a standing target, but in reality it's actually quite hard. So then last but not the least, for the bow and rapier you want to use the all pull gem, and then for all of your gear use the Enix gems. And then again, like in the previous builds, to find out the best weapon and gear perks, watch this video, which is titled which weapon and gear perks are the best for your build. You can find the link in this video's description or just scroll through my channel. So in a quick summary, if you are looking for the highest damage weapon in the game and you want to win 1v1s or just in general you enjoy both for PvP or PvE, then this is the build for you. So I hope you enjoy, and that's about it. So I really do appreciate everyone for watching guys, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any suggestions, feedback or other good 1v1 builds that you would like to see in the next video, then feel free to leave your comments in the comment section down below. And while you're doing that, please click like, subscribe and enable that notification bell, so this way you could support the channel and you wouldn't miss any more amazing content from me. With all this said, you have an amazing day and I'll catch you in my next video. So take it easy. Peace.
Yo, I ain't here for the money, I ain't here for the fame. Though it might be nice to own a jet plane, I'ma do it all for you. Come along.